Okay guys, so I got a very pleasant surprise today. I ordered this reel and I wasn't expecting to get this until Friday, and today is Tuesday, the day after Labor Day, but it showed up in the mailbox today. So here we go. It's really shocking how fast you can get things from eBay from the time that you order it to the time that it gets to your door. I literally ordered this, I believe, on Friday, and it got here, probably would have got here Monday if it wasn't for it being Labor Day. Oh crap, what is this? STEEZ Ultimate Fishing Gears. Did they send me a STEEZ by mistake? I wonder if this is legit. Wow, okay. Nope, they didn't send me a STEEZ by mistake, damn it. Oh well, I'm still very excited to get this reel. As you can see by now, it's the Daiwa CG80. This is a very, very controversial reel, and I believe also a very important reel for Daiwa. If I can get this thing out of the box, there we go. Okay, so I guess there was some kind of promotion that I saw that you get some kind of free Daiwa something with the order, and I guess it was a STEEZ pouch. This doesn't look like a STEEZ. I mean, it says STEEZ, but all you Daiwa diehards, can you tell me if this is a legit STEEZ reel cover? Because I believe a STEEZ reel cover would be more quality than this. Not that it's not quality, but anyway, we're gonna dump this off to the side. And let's take a look at this thing. Okay, this is the very controversial Daiwa CG80 Baitcaster. And what else do you get? Typical of Daiwa, you just get some instructions, no oil, but that's okay. Put this box off to the side and let you guys take a good look at this reel. Now the first thing I notice is that it's not as red as you would think that it shows in the pictures. I thought it was going to be like a bright red, but it's kind of like a, I wouldn't say almost pink. But this thing is pretty small. This is pretty tiny. Let you guys take a look at it versus my hand. Gonna give you guys a good 360-degree look at this thing. Then of course I'm going to take a good look at it myself and make mental notes and whatnot and go over my findings with you guys. Okay guys, so I gave this reel a thorough review and I wrote down a bunch of notes and I'm gonna go over them with you. But before we do that, I'm going to go over what I consider a minor controversy about this reel. And the controversy is based off of this little label right here. Made in China. Now this was brought up by the hardcore fanatic Daiwa fans who don't consider this a real Daiwa. I personally don't care where a reel is made, as long as it's built well and cast very well, then I don't care where it can be made. But according to the hardcore Daiwa fans, this is not a real Daiwa, and this reel is actually made by a company called Doyo. If you're not familiar with Doyo, they are a Korean tackle manufacturer that makes a lot of the big names in the fishing industry's reels, like Abu Garcia, the REVOs I believe are Doyo, the LEWS lineup, the Bass Pro Shops lineup, and apparently now the Daiwa C80 lineup. So that was the big controversy, was that this was a Daiwa manufactured by a Korean company in China. Now, this thing looks to be based off the old LEWS LFS platform. And let me show you why I think that. If you take a look at the old LEWS LFS, which has been replaced, you'll see that the bodies are very similar. I know it's hard to tell because of the LEWS is black, but you'll see the screws to mount the handle side plate are in the exact same place. The profile, the gearbox, is virtually the same. And if you turn it on to the palm side plate, the profile is very similar. So yeah, I believe this is based off the LFS platform, which is a good thing because it is very compact and palmable. Now Daiwa prices this at $99, and that was the cause of even more controversy because, as you know, they already have a reel at the $99 price point, the FUEGO CT. So why did Daiwa make this reel as well as the other lower priced C80 reels? And I believe, in my opinion, is that they needed a reel or reels that were very compact and palmable, geared towards the younger, probably high school or college angler that didn't have a lot of money, but they were still, I guess, growing, and so they needed something that was palmable and compact, kind of like what Shimano is trying to do with the new SLX Baitcaster that's coming out. And by the way, I'll be having that reel in my possession within a couple of days, FYI. So the number 80 in CG80 designates the body size, and this is supposedly the smallest body size in Daiwa's lineup. Now, this was done because, I guess, since Daiwa kind of went all in with their T-wing system, that their reels have gotten bigger to accommodate the T-wing. Now, once they went away from the T3 fixed T-wing style to the flip-out T-wing style, I guess they had to, you know, elongate their reels and also open up the front and make it a little bit wider. And even though they've shrunken the TATULA, compared to a lot of other reels, they were still very big. If you can see the TATULA versus the CHRONARCH 70, you'll see that there's no comparison. The CHRONARCH 70 is definitely smaller. Now, the frame and body of this reel is made of carbon graphite. Now it's got 9+1 bearings, so a total of 10 bearings. The exact same amount as the LEWS LFS. So there's another clue as to why people thought it was a Doyo reel. And then the last nail in the coffin as to this being made by Doyo was the gear ratio. It's only offered in a 7:5:1, which is a pretty much a LEWS only gear ratio, at least that I know of. And of course my Speedspool LFS is a 7:5:1. Now it's got a 90mm handle. The drag star looks to be a Daiwa drag star. It's made of graphite. It does click, as you can hear. But the cast control knob does not. Now more on that later. Now the thumb bar feels very good, very positive. And yeah, that's basically it. Now, since this is supposed to be Daiwa's smallest reel, let's compare it to some other reels. Now, of course, the biggest competitor for the CG80 is the in-house competitor, the FUEGO. As you can see, it is much shorter, looks to be a little bit wider, but let's look at the height of the two. If I can line up these reel seats, looks like the FUEGO definitely sits higher up on the reel seat by a couple of millimeters. Now let's compare it to the LEWS LFS. I think I already did that, but you'll see the size of these reels are very, very similar. And the profile as well. It looks like, yeah, they're about the same in profile. But let's see what it looks like compared to Shimano's smallest reel, at least in my opinion. Well, first let's check out the size compared to another $99 reel that's made of graphite, the CASITAS. And at least to my eyes, it looks noticeably smaller than the CASITAS. CASITAS looks to be longer and a little bit higher on the reel seat. Now the smallest reel in Shimano's lineup is the CURADO 70, and it looks like the 70 is still smaller. It's not as wide as the CG80, and they look about the same length. Now, as far as the height, it looks to me like the 70 may be a tad lower on the reel seat. So Daiwa definitely succeeded in making this small and palmable, especially even compared to their CT framed reels. Okay guys, it's time to get you the nitty gritty and get some weights on this thing. Now it doesn't feel heavy, and Daiwa does list this as weighing 6.5 ounces. So I got my scale out, and according to the scale, you're looking at 6.62 ounces. So a little bit higher, but it still feels very light. Now compared to the FUEGO, which of course has an aluminum frame, you were looking at 7.4, so almost an ounce less than the FUEGO. And then when compared to the CASITAS, which is of course the graphite competitor from Shimano, 6.8. So it's only 0.2 of an ounce lighter than the CASITAS, but the CASITAS feels a lot heavier, it feels a lot more dense. The mass of the CASITAS feels more centralized than the mass on the CG80. But yeah, if you picked up the two, you'll think, wow, the CASITAS weighs a lot more, even though the scale says it's only 0.2 of an ounce more. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, of course, pop the spools out and see what this thing's all about. Now before we do that, I want to show you guys something. This was another big controversy. I'm going to show you the box of the CG80, and right there it says this has mag force braking. So let's take a look at the braking system. I've already looked at it, but there we go. This is the latest mag force braking system from Daiwa. Now of course, you know, this is really a Korean style mag tracks system in my book. Regular mag force is just like mag force C, except the rotor is stationary and does not move. But yeah, Daiwa has given this the mag force trademark. But oh yeah, let's take a look at the spool and of course get some weights on it. As you can see, it's got the long spool shaft. It looks to be dark gray and has red accents, and it doesn't look like it's ported very heavily. There's some small porting on the sides of the spool, but let's get a weight on this thing. Now this thing does have a bearing. Okay, so this weighs, according to the scale, 17.25 grams. Hopefully you guys can see that. Now it does have a bearing, and I'm very curious to see as to what the weight of the spool is without that bearing. Okay guys, so my curiosity got the best of me and I decided to take the bearing off of the spool and show you guys something. Now before I do that, let's take a look at the FUEGO spool. Now the spool of the CG80 is only 32 millimeters in diameter, while the FUEGO is 34 millimeters. I don't know if you can see a size difference there, but this is 34 millimeters and this is 32 millimeters, just like the CURADO 50 and 70 spools. Now check this out. So without the bearing, this thing weighs, actually I didn't even pull the bearing out, but this thing without the bearing weighs only 15.6 grams. So that's very significant because let's weigh some spools of other reels. Here's the FUEGO. FUEGO is 16.7 grams, and the FUEGO holds a lot more line. I believe at least 20 yards more of 12-pound mono. So when they are filled with line, you're looking at the rotational mass between these two getting even bigger. So that's very interesting. It's got at least a 1 gram lighter spool than the FUEGO. Holds less line, but at the same time the spool diameter is smaller. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the casting ability of this thing is going to play out. So just to give you guys an example of why, 15.6 grams is significant. That weighs less than pretty much all the other spools in the $99 reel category, with the exception of probably this one, which is the CASITAS spool, 15.3. That's probably why this thing dominated everyone. But here's the CURADO 70 spool, and this is 15.5, so it's virtually the same weight as the CURADO 70 spool. As you can see, they're the same size. Looks to be the same width as well. But of course the CURADO 70 is centrifugal brake, so the casting characteristics are going to be pretty different. But yeah, so Daiwa gave this thing a smaller spool, but to compensate for that, they've made it really, really light comparatively to other reels in its price category, even against its own brother, the FUEGO CT. So that's very, very interesting to me, and I can't wait to get this out to see how this casts against the FUEGO CT. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of difference. Okay guys, to wrap up this tabletop analysis and review, let's go over the pluses and minuses of this reel in my book. Now let's start with the minuses. Now the first minus is that I do not like this paint job. It looks red in pictures, but in real life it looks like a dark pink, and it's like a pastel hue or coloring to it. I wish they would have made the paint job non-matte. This is supposed to be like a satin matte finish, but it feels cheap and rough compared to the FUEGO. The FUEGO's satin paint job is smooth, very high quality. You can just run your skin over it and it'll just glide right over. Now with this thing, it's not smooth. It'll catch. I guess your skin will catch on some of the paint, and it just doesn't glide as smooth as the paint job on the FUEGO. I wish they would have just covered it with like a gloss and made it like a legit red instead of this pastel color. Now I do like this little piece of styling, this little plastic piece that's supposed to look like metal, but I think they could have done without these little dots here. Kind of makes it look cheesy to me. Now these dots are also on the thumb bar. And also, this thing, it feels hollow to me. You know how I was comparing it with the CASITAS, and they're almost the same weight, but the CASITAS felt much more substantial. This doesn't feel hollow. This feels hollow. I don't want to say cheap because I haven't had it out on the water yet and had any time with it, but it feels hollow. And I guess the best way I can describe it is the weight seems to be spread out over the reel compared to the CASITAS, which the weight seems to be centralized, and it could be the paint job as well. And other than that, that's it. Let's go over some positives. Now, compared to the, I guess, regular mag force, this has far more adjustability. I believe the regular mag force has either 20, 21 settings. Well, this has 28. And you can see, just like other Doyo made reels, you have the free setting and then max. Does that look familiar? So free is one setting. Let's see how many clicks that this has. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So 27 clicks, so a total of 28 different settings, which is the standard for a Doyo made magnetic system. So it's got more adjustable brakes than the, I guess, legit mag force. And also, I like the knobs better. It's got the cool STEEZ style end caps, while the Fuego's got these kind of nondescript little black end caps. The material of the knobs is not as quality feeling as the Fuego, and as you can see, it's kind of like a, I don't know, like a mix of LEWS and Daiwa. But I like the knobs because they look good and they have these end caps. And also, they've decided to go with a higher end looking retainer. Let's take a look at the retainer of the Fuego. It's just this plastic piece. While with this CG80, it's got the more higher end metal colored retainer that you see in higher end reels. And another thing is the thumb bar feels much more solid and positive than on the Fuego. Let me tell you why. Now, hopefully the camera will pick this up, but there is no kind of mush or wobble when I'm trying to press this thumb bar down. On the Fuego, you'll see that, hopefully that'll focus, there's movement there. Can you see that? So you'll start pressing and you'll feel that mush before the thumb bar actually engages. Now with the CG80, it does not have that. It just engages as soon as you start applying pressure. So that's good. Now also, here's something strange that I found. The spool tension or cast control feels smoother to turn than on the Fuego. This feels a little bit notchy. It takes a little bit of effort to get it to start turning. Once you do, it's pretty free, but it's very notchy compared to the one on the CG80. Let me show you the reason for that. Okay, so I've taken the cast control caps off of both reels, and one thing that's better is not only does the CG80 cast control cap look better, it's got the red accents on it. I believe this is made of aluminum, if I'm not mistaken. Well, actually I think it's made of plastic, but it looks like aluminum. And this is definitely plastic, and it's kind of just nondescript. Both of them are pretty small. They could be bigger, but let's take a look at where you screw them on. Now on the CG80, you can see that this is actually made of metal, probably brass. So that's why turning the knob is smoother, even though this is a graphite side plate. Now this is something that's featured on a really high-end reel of the past, the SHIMANO Core. The SHIMANO Core 50, I should say, had graphite side plates, but turning that spool tension was super smooth because SHIMANO put a metal section or insert to where you screw the cast control. And on the FUEGO, it is plastic. So yeah, there's some really nice features about the CG80. Of course, it's got more ball bearings. Not that that matters. I will say that the retrieve on the FUEGO is noticeably smoother. FUEGO's got that air rotation. This is smooth, but this has gotten an extra level of glassy smoothness to it due to that air rotation. So yeah, there we go, the tabletop analysis of the CG80. So the next thing to do is spool these two reels up and see how they compare to each other on the water, throwing a bunch of different lures. And then of course, one of the main competitors for the CG80 is going to be arriving hopefully by Friday, the Shimano SLX. Okay guys, thanks a lot.